Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Midday Live here on TV3. My name is Pa Kwesiasari. Coming up in the headlines. Inter-Party Advisory Committee, IPAC, in a crucial meeting after the widely condemned Ayawaso West Wagon by-elections. Also, work on the Itureso-Edeja Bridge, which claimed 6 lives in September last year, yet to be completed, though timelines by the government have elapsed. And elsewhere on the international front, U.S. President Donald Trump, in his State of the Union speech, announces to hold a second nuclear summit with North Korea's leader this month. We've got details of these stories plus many more coming up in the next 60 minutes. We've got the very latest in business news and sports as well as international news. Be reminded that we're also streaming live on Facebook. You can join us with your views, comments and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. Visit any of our social media pages on Facebook and on Twitter. Now, the minority in Parliament is pushing for the dismissal of the National Security Minister, Kandapa, and the Minister of State in charge of National Security, Brian Achampong, for the violent attack on the Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, Sam George, last Thursday. Now, speaking on Sunrise on 3FM, Deputy Minority Whip Ahmed Ibrahim said the sector minister was vetted by Parliament and therefore ought to resign.
Masked men attacked some people, including the Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, Sam George, at Bauleshi in the Ayawaso West Wagon by-elections.
Brian Achampong was not vetted as a Minister for National Security. If the President brought him that he was going to be vetted as Minister for National Security, serious questions would have been asked. But the President brought Kandapa as Minister for National Security. We vetted Kandapa. We did not even waste time because we knew and we have confidence in his competency. As a former defense minister, we vetted and approved it. It was later that the President brought Brian Achampong to be vetted as a Minister of State at the presidency. So as you and me sit here,
should he resign?
Technically, not only Brian Achampong, Kandapa should come out either to resign or to categorically state whether he's still in charge.
Meanwhile, on Tuesday, the minority staged a walkout on the floor of Parliament just when the newly elected Member of Parliament, Lydia Al-Hassan, was being sworn in, refusing to recognize her as the Member of Parliament, something the Deputy Majority Whip, Nyandam Matthew, condemns.
What is the meaning of they don't recognize the woman? The woman doesn't need their recognition. What recognition? If Ahmed rises up on the floor today, okay, on the floor of Parliament, and wants to address the woman today, Madam Lydia Al-Hassan Sairam, Honorable Ahmed would definitely say, Honorable Member from Ayawaso Wagon. If he refuses to do that, we'll drag him to the Privileges Committee. He can never address her anyhow.
But according to Ahmed Ibrahim, Lydia Al-Hassan can address the Speaker of Parliament and not the minority side.
You mean when the woman is on his fair feet?
Yes, talking.
We need to recognize her before she can speak?
No, you said that.
That's
so I don't understand why
No. Let me just understand something.
I want to understand it.
The kind of respect.
No, let me give.
The kind of respect.
Let me ask the questions
for you.
Let me ask the
And
questions.
answer that respect.
Let me
we on our side will not have it for her.
Let me ask the.
The NDC has vowed to proceed to court over the election of Madam Lydia Al-Hassan.
Meanwhile, the Minister in charge of National Security, Brian Achampong, and the Sector Minister are to appear before Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee to answer questions relating to the deployment of some masked men believed to be personnel from the National Security during the Ayawaso West Wagon by-elections.
The committee has already had engagements with the Inspector General of Police and the Minister for the Interior. They met with us and actually told us their side of the story. But it appears the Interior Ministry and the Inspector General of Police were not complicit in whatever happened at Ayawaso West Wagon. because the Minister of State and the National Security has spoken and taken full responsibility. And so it is appropriate that moving forward, the committee must engage with the National Security Ministry.
Who is the one you should invite?
Absolutely.
And have you extended an invitation to him?
Yes, I am very sure the committee has written to them, because when we set out our agenda, we were supposed to meet both the Interior Ministry, which has direct oversight of the police, and the National Security Ministry. We expect the two ministers to be in attendance.
When is that?
I don't know the date. You know, we boycotted proceedings today because we had to be here.
In a related development, a former National Security Minister under the Jerry Rawlings administration, Kofi Totobi-Quachi, has described persons who have counseled President Akufo-Addo on the Yawasu West Wagon by-election violence as traitors. In a 3-page open letter to the president, he insists any attempt by government to deceive the Ghanaian public on the true state of the matter will not augur well.
These videos have received condemnation from majority of Ghanaians. The topic remains a discussion point in the media for almost a week. Totobi-Quachi, who was on the grounds moments after the gunshots were fired at Labaoleshi, is enraged. He insists the conduct of the government and that of the Electoral Commission betrays the president's legacy. He noted that any attempt by the government to deceive the Ghanaian public on the true state of the matter will not augur well. But an incensed former intelligence couple says the ongoing attempt to gaslight the Ghanaian public will not wash, and it's also terribly short-sighted and myopic. Those of your councillors who are making a public mock of the intelligence of the Ghanaian people, delighting in the recent events and fostering thoughts of repetition, betray your good name and are traitors of your legacy. Totobi-Quachi also took a swipe at the Minister of State in charge of National Security, Brian Champon, asking the President to sanction him. The former Minister of State asked the President to listen to the many calls for an independent judicial investigation to be conducted into the matter.
Let's now go to Parliament, where the Majority Women Caucus are demanding an unqualified apology from the minority side for their actions before the swearing-in of MP for Yawasu West Wagon, Lydia Seriam Al-Hassan. The Deputy Majority Leader, Adra Safo, says the minority's insinuation has had a psychological effect on the new Member of Parliament, who is being counselled to avoid further trauma.
She is not here because we don't want her to suffer any more trauma and psychological, torture. To sit here and be repeating bloody widow, bloody widow. What is it of good to us? If somebody tells you, excuse me to say, you are stupid, and you carrying the message, you say the same thing, is as good as you insulting the person. And that is why our honorable member is not here. We want her to be with her children, especially when this thing happened in their presence, to be able to take them through the counseling that they need. And she herself, I believe, has suffered enough, and we ought to support her in counseling and psychological support as well. We will take it up as a caucus. We will try to engage them on it, because the caucus has always maintained a non-partisan posture. But it looks as if we are defeating the purpose of the caucus, which is that we are all for women cause, the cause of women, promoting women empowerment. And party ideology should not be a determining factor. Whether we believe the elections were bloody or not, what this press conference is about the attack on our colleague female Member of Parliament, her dignity as a woman, her integrity as a woman. We believe that this country thrives on the rule of law. And I know there are very experienced lawyers on the side of the minority. If elections are carried out by the Electoral Commission and not Lydia Seriam Al-Hassan, and you have issues with the process, we follow due process. If the security agencies you believe acted in a way that you think was illegal, was an affront on the human rights of an honorable member of parliament, which is being alleged, we know that Honorable Seriam Al-Hassan is not the head of security services in Ghana. She is not the IGP. Neither is she the national security boss.
Meanwhile, the Coalition of Election Observers, CODEO, is addressing a news conference after the Electoral Commission rubbished its Ayawaso West Wagon by-election report. Our reporter, Mercy Dallin Loco, joins us live from where the press conference is taking place. You're still watching Midday Live here on TV3. Remember, we are streaming live on Facebook. You can join us with views, comments, and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. We're staying on this, the aftermath of the Ayawaso by-elections, and the Coalition of Election Observers, CODEO, is holding a news conference after the Electoral Commission rubbished its Ayawaso West Wagon by-election report. Our reporter, Mercy Dallin Loco, joins us live from where the press conference is taking place. All right, so we're going to bring you that feed
on the
shortly.
West Wagon constituency by-election. On the evening of Thursday, January 31st, 2019, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, which had deployed observers for the Ayawaso West Wagon constituency by-election, held on that date, released its close of polls statement. CODEO's close of polls statement typically provides a snapshot of what transpires on election day. Consistent with its practice, CODEO communicated its initial report of the election not only to the public through traditional and new media channels, but also to the leadership of the Electoral Commission by email. CODEO follows a strict protocol and has thus always taken great pains to ensure its close of poll statement and other reports record and reflect only that which is factually and contemporaneously observed and documented by its assigned observers and team. CODEO does not rely on hearsay or uncorroborated third-party accounts. CODEO is therefore surprised that claims or assertions it did not make in its initial statement have been attributed to it by the Electoral Commission of Ghana in a press statement and at a press conference, apparently in reaction to the CODEO statement. For the avoidance of doubt, CODEO wishes to state categorically that, 1, contrary to the impression created by the EC regarding the shooting incident at Labauleshi, CODEO did not indicate anywhere in its statement that the said shooting incident took place at a polling station. CODEO was clear in its statement that CODEO observers witnessed the violent incident, including shooting incident, which took place in the Labaoleshi area at East Legon. The CODEO statement also did not in any way attempt to link the Electoral Commission to the shooting incident, contrary to the EC's claim. CODEO, in fact, pointed out that its observers could not confirm the exact cause of the violent incident. 2, the Electoral Commission also in its statement denied that the violent incident which took place at Labaoleshi affected voting. According to the Commission, the incident did not in any way disturb the conduct of the poll. CODEO wishes to reaffirm its initial observation that as a result of the panic and chaos emanating from the shooting incident, voting was in fact temporarily disrupted at a police station close to the shooting incident. Indeed, a media report of an interview with the Electoral Commission's own Municipal Director for Elections, that's the one for Ayawaso West Wagon, confirms that voting was disrupted for about 45 minutes in the wake of the shooting incident before normalcy was restored. And the source of this is at Ghana Web, Ghana homepage. When you Google, you get this information there. The information given by the municipal officer with regards to this particular information. 3, regarding the presence of security personnel at polling stations, CODIO is baffled by the EC's indication that CODIO had suggested in its statement that the presence of station security officers specifically or in and of itself disrupted the voting process. CODIO made no such attribution or linkage. CODIO's main concerns regarding security arrangements for the by-elections were explicitly stated as the apparent lack of proper security coordination for the election and the heavy and intimidating processes of security personnel at various polling stations. The display of a lack of understanding of the electoral rules and regulations by some plainclothes, that means not uniformed, security personnel, and the presence of masked security operatives at some polling stations. CODIO further wishes to point out that its general observation about the security deployment for the by-election, as stated in its statement, was not limited to station security personnel, but also mobile patrol teams. Indeed, security operatives in some of the mobile patrol vehicles sighted by observers at some polling stations were armed. Regarding the incident at a police station at the precinct's JHS police station at Roman Ridge, where a stationed uniformed police officer was attacked for questioning and directing some plainclothes security operatives at the police station to reposition themselves, CODIO stands by the account of its observer and is ready to cooperate with the Electoral Commission and the security agencies to undertake further investigation into this matter. 5, contrary to the Electoral Commission's suggestion that CODIO did not provide an overall picture of the content of the polls, CODIO wishes to draw the attention of the EC to the paragraph in the CODIO statement which noted that apart from the main concerns regarding security arrangements for the by-election, and I quote, most observers reported of a generally smooth voting exercise, including the smooth performance of biometric devices, end of quote.
You're still watching Midday Live here on TV3, and on our MTN video report today, our citizen journalist Samuel Ofosu highlights on the poor state of an uncompleted school at Adanse Brekete in the Ashanti region.
This is Sumoso Methodist Primary School. This is a Get Fund project